I'm Amy of Handmaiden, and this is my monthly podcast where I update you on what I've been creating in this past month, personally making, and also anything that's new on the website for Handmaiden. So first up today I am wearing Pink Fizz by Andrea Mowry. I had a quick look at my Ravelry projects before I started recording to see when I made this. I remember it being my first lacework pattern, but again I loved the design, like what it looked like, and so I just dove in and did my first lacework. It is knit up in, I held two strands together, so a silk and merino like 4-ply strand held with a strand of mohair, both dyed by Heather Weir. It's actually the same colourway as last month's sweater I had on. I can't remember the colourway name, but I loved it that much that I asked Heather to dye up some more for me. Yeah, so it has these beautiful lace panels. They're not showing up that well with the on here, I don't think. Also with the variegation of the hand-dyed yarn. So lace panel here, and it goes the same down the back, two lace panels on the side. I knitted in 2021 according to Ravelry, so a good couple of years ago now. Yeah, very happy with how it came out. The only modification I did to the pattern, I can't quite show you, but it's also got a gorgeous wee split hem. My modification was the neck. I felt that it was quite a wide open neck when I was knitting it, and it's not my favourite style to wear. I had plenty of yarn left, so I kept knitting the 2x2 rib and made myself a nice kind of funnel neck. Or sometimes I wear it rolled over, however I'm feeling, I guess. Yeah, but I didn't roll it over and stitch it down. That's my only modification. Pink Fizz by Andrea Mowry. Like my usual videos, I'll link all the details in the show notes below, so you can go and find the patterns and the designers and stuff then. Finished objects. I have actually finished a few things. Yeah, I've got a few things to show you this month. Last month I said how I had about 4 things on my needles, which was not the usual for me. So got way less on my needles now. I've got one project I'm focusing on, which I feel much more comfortable about. First up, finished, is my Ovis Sweater. I didn't wear it today because I'm saving it to wear to the Wool and Craft Festival I organise in Gore and Southland. That's the beginning of May, so I'm going to wear this sweater then. You'll be able to spot me, I'm sure. Stoked that it's finished. This one also had me a wee bit worried about the wide neck. It had a very large neck opening, but by the time you did this nice big 1-in-1 rib and then rolled it over and stitched it down, it really closed it up and it sits quite nice now. I'm quite happy with how the neckband sits. Yeah, it was an undertaking to do all these sheepies, especially the sheep in the round for the sleeves. I very much focused on the finished object. That's what I wanted, the sweater. It wasn't overly enjoyable to knit the sheep in the round and the sleeves. Yeah, but stoked. It's super thick. It's going to be a very nice middle of winter cozy jersey. Happy with that. Ovis, so this is Boyland Knitworks. Caitlin Hunter. Boyland Knitworks Ovis Sweater. Yeah, and I've used Outlaw yarn in 2 different colours and the nice brownie colour. I held 2 strands of the Outlaw yarn, and then for the sheep I held 1 strand of the Outlaw yarn with a mohair because I wanted my sheep to be fluffy. Kind of see a wee fuzz halo there. Happy it is done. And then I cast on I think after doing such a project with so much concentration and charts, there were multiple charts, yeah, I needed a nice, enjoyable, brainless knit for me. So I did a Sophie shawl by Petite Knit. Again, loving this yellow colour at the moment, buttery yellow. The Sophie shawl is, I would say it's the same as the Sophie scarves that I've made. I've made them in quite a few different colours. It just is wider and has a much longer wingspan. I guess that's how it became a shawl. And the shawl pattern actually has 3 sizes, like a small, medium and large. And I've made the smallest just because that's the balls of wool that I had. Made the most I could with those. I love the texture that garter stitch creates in these scarves and shawls, and it has like the I-cord edge, which is worked as you go just by slipping those end 3 stitches. So beautiful. Love it. It's super squishy. It's 8 ply, this one. Yeah, lovely. So cast that on and finish that within the month as well. Also my Tin Can Knits Lullaby blanket that I had been making with an advent that Amelia had dyed up. I've shown this on the podcast a wee bit too. But I have successfully cast it off. It is done. I can't really show you on here the whole thing. But I have moved through all of the colours 3 times. You can probably see there's three yellow bits in there. It's bigger than I can spread my arms out. But it's great size to like cover your feet and your legs and right up over your waist. Like I made it to be snugly on the couch, cover you up real good. The pattern again is in multiple sizes, so you're like a cot size right through to couch kind of blanket. Yeah, stoked to have cast that off. It's been, I think I cast this on after Christmas, like end of December, once I'd opened all my advent, and so that's been a good couple of months, maybe 4. Yeah, it's absolutely delicious and soft and drapey. Very happy with it. I had a tiny bit left of each colour, and I was wondering if I could have got another repeat out of all the colours, but I don't think it would have looked very balanced because I needed to make my blanket wider to make it longer, and for the amount of stitches I cast on 3 repeats, it was a good size. Yep, so stoked with that. I was thinking it's almost big enough to be a shawl as well. Like, amazing. Rainbow makes me happy. Yep, so Lullaby blanket is done. It feels so good to get all the things off my needles and tidy up all the project bags down the side of the couch where I like to sit and knit in the evening. Apart from that, I had a wee play on my NZ Auto Knitter, so my circular sock knitting machine. Was it last month? I shared that I finally cranked a matching pair of socks for myself, like ribbed socks. And the secret was that I got a really nice skein out of my stash and just cranked it rather than using up all scrappy bits and pieces. So again, I got a nice skein out of my stash. It's opal yarn. I think it was one of the Tutti Frutti collections, but I didn't actually have the yarn tag with it. I'd already taken it from the opal ball and caked it up, ready to machine knit it, so it didn't have its label with it. Anyway, success. Very happy with them. They've had a wash and a wear, so that all the stitches have settled in. Successfully did like a 3-in-1 rib over the top of your foot all the way up the leg. 1-in-1 right there, and then it's just stockinette under the bottom of the foot. And we toes, yeah, you can't see. I can feel it though. The graft is there above my toes. And stoked with how my heels came out. Look at those hole free heels. Like normally here you get little holes, but no, very happy with those. Lovely pair of sockies that are matching. Yeah, I think that's all my finished objects for this month. Yeah, definitely. The new cast on is a test knit for a friend, Viv. She has recently knit her daughter a gorgeous sweater with a frog's face on the front, and it's called, the pattern is called Just a Kid Who Loves Frogs, and Viv is calling herself Clifton Green Knits. So maybe this, you can just see how cute the frog is. This is her daughter Natalie. Just a Kid Who Loves Frogs. And yeah, Clifton Green Knits. I'll link it all below so you can go follow her on social media and stuff like that. But the pattern is still in the test knitting process. I think the test knit's meant to end about the end of May. That's the plan. So then you'll be able to get your hands on the nice pattern sometime after that. I'm making this sweater for Lily, and Lily has dyed up the yarns. Yeah, I'll show you what I've got. Lily's main frog is this like super bright green. I feel like it almost glows. This green for her frog face. And then the upper body and the upper back and sleeves are all striped. So one stripe's going to be this beautiful sagey green, and then one stripe in this fun speckly skein that she dyed with purple and yellow and green. It does have some speckles in there. That was one of our school holiday projects. So the frog face needed just a little bit more than a full skein for the size that I'm making. So the full skein is wound up because I'm knitting with it at the moment, and then there's a little wee mini skein extra. And then because the pattern is 8-ply weight and I've dyed up 4-ply yarn, I'm holding a strand of mohair with the yarn to get the right gauge. I didn't dye any mohair. I went through my stash and pulled out all the little bits of mohair left over from different projects, and I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna fade, like use up one color of mohair and then fade into the next color. At the moment I'm holding this color with the green at the bottom. I think it'll look dark and moody at the bottom. It'll look nice. So yeah, bottom up sweater. There's the bottom rib, and now you're just stocking it for quite a wee way of green for the body of the frog. And then as I get into it, I'm just going to fade in different bits of fluff from my collection. This is something we dyed from another one of Lily's projects. I think that one will look cool with the green further up. I'll fade into that colour. Lots of pinks, something else that I dyed for something I made myself. Yeah, so I'll just fade through all the different mohairs, but with the main 4-ply yarn being consistent, I feel like it'll be kind of a subtle change. It won't be too blocky. Let you know how it goes. Yeah, it's looking good though. So soft. Yeah, you won't be able to feel that, but it's beautiful. Happy with that. And that is all that's on my needles at the moment, which is quite refreshing. Had a good tidy up. So for Handmaiden, April's colourway is out with all club members for Fibre Club and Yarn Club, and April's birthstone is diamond, so it definitely got me thinking, like, how am I going to dye diamond? I can't just send everyone white fibre and yarn that I haven't even dyed. So my vision was how when the light catches your diamond, it reflects like rainbows everywhere, like the colour splits out. So still the beautiful white pure, but then the rainbows. So I've got some fluff to show you. The Fibre Club was dyed up on silk merino base. You can see the silk in there, those super shiny, almost silvery bits. And there's the rainbows. You can see little pops of rainbow coming in there. And there's their wee stitch marker. Again, it catches the light. When it catches the light, it's got a rainbow reflection in there. There's still I think I'm looking on the shelf. 1, 2 diamonds if you really love this colourway. There's 2 of those on the website if you wanted one of those. Otherwise I'll be taking them to festival with me in May. And then just because I wanted to see how the yarn knitted up, like I have a vision in my head when I'm dyeing it, and I always wonder if it's actually going to turn out how you imagine. I dyed myself a mini skein in the same, ignore that bit, in the same colourway, and that's how the diamond yarn dyed up. It was on a silver sparkle base. You might just be able to see some silvery sparkly bits, but yeah, super fun, almost striping, like I can see plain white bands and then the rainbow bits come in. Please ignore the other random bits of yarn, that's just waste yarn that I've put through my circular sock knitting machine. Yeah, so that's April's yarn colourway knitted up. I think it turned out awesome, very happy with that. And then apart from that, I've just been making heaps of stock up for festival in May at the Goretown and Country Club. I organise a yarn and craft kind of festival, and I'll be taking all my self-striping yarn and beautiful braids of fibre with me. Up here is all self-striping skeins that I've made up, and then there's a good stash of gobstoppables happening over here as well, not on the website, and they'll only go on my website if there's anything left after festival. I'll put whatever's left on the website. Currently working on more colourful braids under the house. Yeah, they're getting dyed up as I'm chatting to you. So yeah, I should have a wee bit of colourful stuff to take along. Oh, and all these mini skeins, can you see all these happening? Heaps of mini skeins. Yeah, they're always fun to add to a gobstopper and get a couple of pairs of socks out of them. Or any self, you know, if you want to make a stripy project, just grab a few mini skeins. Yeah, I'm thinking what else? Oh, the train trip happened. I think last time I chatted to you, I hadn't gone on the train trip. Crofters Yarn, the amazing Jan and all her team put on a mega train trip from Dunedin to Oamaru, and there were so many carriages of knitters. It was a fabulous day. When we got to Oamaru, there was a jazz and blues festival on, so you'd just be walking through the heritage precinct, and there was a stage set up with a different band playing, and we were very lucky to have such a magic day as well, like beautiful weather to just walk around, and it was warm and sunny, and so the views off the train were amazing. Like the water was so still and beautiful. If you want to see some footage, you'd have to go check out my personal page on Instagram. I did a little reel. Yeah, while I was in Oamaru, we went and saw Paula of Purple Sprouting, Paula and Sam, because they now have a shop in the heritage precinct in Oamaru. I'd allowed myself to buy one skein when I got there, and it was going to be a skein of sock yarn because it'll definitely get used, whether it's in a shawl or a pair of socks. This is the skein I chose, super pretty, pink and green, probably my favourite colours. And it's on a high twist base. Supernova is what Paula calls that base. Look at that. I do love a high twist. Delish. And this is called Rose Hip Glow. And it's from Paula's, one of her club colourways. When she did the Garden Society, this was her January colourway. Merino nylon high twist. Delicious. If you're ever in Oamaru, go find Paula's wee shop. It's super cute. She's got so many beautiful shawls on display and just a great selection of yarn. Yeah. I think that might be all this month. Apart from that, I'm largely focused on the festival. I'd love to see you in Southland and Gore if you're free on Saturday the 2nd of May, 10 till 3. Yeah, come on down, support all the traders, and even feel free to bring the family. There's so many children's crafts set up, all free entry, free children's crafts. Come and have a go, learn something new and be inspired. Yeah, and support all our small indie dyers and makers. Thanks for watching again. Feel free to pop any questions in the comments below and I'll answer them next month. See you later.